You know, come on. When Hillary Clinton says I'm out of touch, I just have to remind people of the track record. All right? So now this is Senator Clinton. This is the same person who has taken more money from lobbyists than any other candidate, Democratic or Republican, taking more money from drug company lobbyists and insurance company lobbyists, and she's saying, I'm out of touch. Who do you think is out of touch? This is the same person who took money from financial folks on Wall Street and then voted for a bankruptcy bill that makes it harder for folks right here in Pennsylvania to get a fair shake. Who do you think is out of touch? This is the same person who spent a decade with her husband campaigning for NAFTA and now goes around saying how she was opposed to NAFTA. Does that sound like she's in touch with Pennsylvania? Does that sound like she's in touch with you? This is the same person who says she's voting for the Colombia trade deal. Turns out that her top advisor, her top strategist, was working for the Colombian government to get the bill passed. Does that sound like she's in touch with you? We just had the tape. You just said that I complimented the Republican ideas. That is not true. What I said, and I will provide you with the quote, what I said is that Ronald Reagan was a transformative political figure because he was able to get Democrats to vote against their economic interests to form a majority to push through their agenda, an agenda that I objected to because while I was working on those streets, watching those folks see their jobs shipped overseas, you were a corporate lawyer sitting on the board of Walmart. I was fighting these fights. I was fighting these fights. So, but I want to be clear. So I want to be. I don't think the best way to approach this is to raise the retirement age, but what we can do is adjust the cap on the payroll tax. Right now, anybody who's making $97,000 or less, you pay payroll tax on 100% of your income. Warren Buffett, who made $46 million last year, pays on a fraction of 1% of his income. And if we make that small adjustment, we can potentially close that gap and we can make sure Social Security is there.
Senator Clinton, you've been criticized by Senator Obama, I think Senator Edwards, among others, for refusing to take a hard and fast position on whether you would raise the tax above those making $97,500 a year to try to secure Social Security in the long term. Are you ready to make a hard and fast statement now on your position on what Senator Obama just said?
I do not want to fix the problems of Social Security on the backs of middle-class families and seniors. If you lift the cap completely, that is a $1 trillion tax increase. I don't think
so you're not ready to accept a raising of the cap on that, but I know that Senator Obama wants to respond to you.
I will be very brief on this because, Hillary, I've heard you say this is a $1 trillion tax cut on the middle class by adjusting the cap. Understand that only 6% of Americans make more than $97,000 a year. So 6% is not the middle class, it's the upper class. And, you know, this is the kind of thing that I would expect from Mitt Romney or Rudy Giuliani, where we start playing with numbers. We start playing with numbers in order to try to make a point. And we can't do that. No. This is too important. This is too important for us to pretend that we are using numbers like $1 trillion tax cut instead of responsibly dealing with a problem that Judy asked for, and she said she wants a specific answer. And that's what I provided. But understand, this is the top 6%, and that is not the middle class.
It's what's wrong with politics today. Hillary Clinton will say anything to get elected. Now she's making false attacks on Barack Obama. The Washington Post says Clinton isn't telling the truth. She championed NAFTA, even though it has cost South Carolina thousands of jobs. And worst of all, it was Hillary Clinton who voted for George Bush's war in Iraq. Hillary Clinton, she'll say anything and change nothing. It's time to turn the page. Paid for by Obama for America.
I'm Barack Obama, candidate for president, and I approve this message.